Welcome to Glitter and Grace, faith, fun, and a little sparkle. Listen in as I talk about reintroducing me. Hey everybody, how you doing on this Monday evening? I'm coming on to have some conversation with you, and from the title, you might have seen what I said. Let me reintroduce myself. So I wanted to jump on here with you all tonight because I just celebrated a birthday last week, and I feel like I heard the Lord saying, reintroduce, becoming, renew. And so I decided to make this the month of RE, of re. So we are not only almost halfway through the year, I just celebrated a birthday, and I'm inspired because I want to reintroduce myself. Not only reintroduce myself to you, but reintroduce myself to myself. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Some of us have been in a place of giving up, of running into a brick wall, of not starting over, of feeling like I didn't get what I wanted to get done this year, last year, the year before. But I'm here to tell you that this is the month of RE. So I want to reintroduce myself. So some of you all might know me through my podcast called Art of Grace. And so I'm jumping on tonight with you with some little glitter and grace tonight. My name is Farah. I'm your number one grace girl. You can find me on all the platforms. And I wanted to talk to you about the power of RE. So I'm reintroducing myself. So again, my name is Farah, your number one grace girl. I'm a minister of the gospel, a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, a podcast host, so many different things. But you know what? I decided that I just turned 52. I'm not afraid to share my age. And I want to reintroduce myself to you. I want to talk about the power of re. I want to talk about what it means to reintroduce yourself. I want to show you what it means to reintroduce yourself to people out there, to your family, to yourself. And starting over is a good thing. Okay. I will tell you that this is a lesson from myself, right? Because, hey, I'm loving to see all of you all jumping on tonight. Thank you so much for joining me as I talk about the power of RE. And not only am I going to be starting us off for the rest of this month because we have time. Today is May the 12th, and I'm going to be coming on with a bunch of other guests to talk about the power of RE. So for all of you all who are jumping on and you want to be empowered and inspired to start over, to start something new, to begin again, listen, I'm here to empower you and to encourage you in doing that. So reintroducing myself to you all tonight is a new celebration of myself. Celebrate you. How many of us celebrate everyone else, but we never celebrate ourselves? So I decided to celebrate myself. Now, I will say last week was my birthday, right? And I was at my office, and I love giving because I'm a giver, but it's hard for me to receive back. It's hard for me to celebrate myself. And for those who were at my office, they decided to celebrate me. And it just really touched me so much. And I'm like, you know what? I have to start being open to receive from other people and not just be a giver. You know, when you're a giver, it's hard to feel like you're a taker. And so for me, I need to be open to be celebrated. So let's talk about right? Because we're talking about, reintroducing yourself. So that's what I just did. I reintroduced myself. So I decided that all the things that I didn't get done this year, all the things that I didn't finalize from last year, my goals, my desires, and my dream, listen, it's not too late to reintroduce yourself. So, talking about reintroduction, so it refers to a divinely guided return or a reawakening to one's true identity, purpose, or relationship. So, listen, there's an awakening there, right? So, not only am I reintroducing myself to you all and to myself, but there's a reawakening. I spent some time with some friends this past Friday at lunch, and man, was I re inspired. It's nothing about being around people who re inspire you to push you forward into your destiny, into your purpose. Me reintroducing myself is me reminding myself that I have things that I want to accomplish. Not only the things that I talked about and I wrote down in the past, but those new things that are in front of me. So there's so many new things that I want to do, and I want to run ahead, and I want to, be re-inspired, and I am going to do it. So by me reintroducing myself, that's a whole part of my purpose. Your purpose is going to be that guide. It's going to be that compass for you to, and reintroducing yourself, right? So it's gonna, bring, we have to be still, right? We have to dream again. Dreaming and being still is how we get re-inspired. Being around people and listening, not only talking, but listening is going to re-inspire you. And so in that, that's a big part of you reintroducing yourself. Have you looked in the mirror and just said hello to yourself? Have you looked in the mirror to just inspire yourself? Have you looked in the mirror and just reaffirmed yourself? Hey, everybody, for jumping on. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for jumping on. So, for you, those of you who are jumping on right now, I'm talking about the power of RE. So, tonight we're talking about reintroduction. Now, I have about 13 ladies coming on with me in the next 2 weeks. Before the end of this month is over, you're going to be so inspired because each one of them are coming on to talk about a definition of RE, right? And the things that they are trying to accomplish. So, me tonight, I'm talking about reintroduction, reintroduction to myself, reintroduction, in this landscape, reintroduction to my purpose. And each one of these ladies are going to come on and share what their re is. So, I'm telling you, you do not want to miss not one of these lives. Please do not miss not one of these lives because you're going to be so inspired. As I was planning this out, and as the Lord told me about the power of I was like, wow, there's so many reads, and I don't want to be the one touching on every last one of them. I want to bring my friends on with me to share, their thoughts and what they're doing in their lives to inspire you in that. So, talking about the power of reintroduction, I just was sharing with you all that it's a reawakening. It's to one's true identity, to your purpose or your relationship with God after a season, maybe after a season, right, of separation, transformation, or preparation. So I do feel like I have been in a season of preparation. Sometimes, you have to close doors. God has to close doors and reopen doors. And in that time, He is preparing you. He's separating you. He's setting you apart. And so for me, that's exactly what happened. I had some time to just be still, get quiet. And in that time, and me celebrating my birthday last week, it was time for, a reintroduction. And so it's a prefix of possibility. It speaks of second chances, fresh starts, and the beauty of doing things again with greater wisdom. So sometimes we start things, right? And sometimes, we're walking in a purpose and in a season. And then in that restarting, you're not weak, but you're stronger. You're coming in with greater wisdom, greater possibility, greater pushes, And so for me, I look at it as I took a step away. I had that quiet time these past couple of months. I got still and I'm coming back with more power, more wisdom, more knowledge in what my purpose is and to walk in. And so I'm super excited about that. You know, it's okay to be different than yesterday, right? It's okay to change from day to day, to be inspired day to day, to reintroduce yourself day to day. Behold, all things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. You are becoming a new person when you are reintroducing yourself. And so, I look back and it's okay to say, okay, I missed some of those latter things. But what about the things that are before us? What about those new things that's going to inspire not only us, but other people? And so I want you to think about that. So I'm walking into greater wisdom. Not only that, to rebuild and to get strengthened, and not only to be strengthened in myself, but to strengthen others, to renew, to revive, and to refocus is to align with purpose. So with me reintroducing myself, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting realigned. It's okay to get realigned. It's okay to separate from those things that have been a stumbling block from you, maybe. It's okay to decide to partner with new groups. It's okay to get new friends. It's okay to let go of something in order to grab a hold of something new. Sometime in reintroducing yourself, it does take letting go of something and starting something new, right? Because that's exactly what it is, reintroducing yourself, right? So, the people around you will be inspired by the new you. Maybe your family, you'll inspire them because you're a new you. But that new you should be even better and even greater than the old you, right? So, for those of you who've been beating yourself up over things, for those of you who've been at a stopping place, you have decided to have a goal in your life, to walk in your purpose, I will tell you that it's okay to let go of some of the old things and to some of the old people and to some of your old ways, in order to reintroduce yourself. So be reminded of that. I want you to be reminded of that we can always begin again. So listen to this, right? So a reintroduction spiritually is just not a return, it's a resurfacing with divine intention, power, and wisdom. So you know what? I do feel like there's a resurfacing, a resurgence of myself, right? And so all the things that I was doing, in the past, I'm still doing it, but I'm just doing it different. I'm just walking in it different. I'm just stepping out and being more bold about things. Sometimes that's what it takes. It takes us to, to say, okay, you know what, you have that. You speak to yourself. Speak to yourself and encourage yourself and know that in reintroducing yourself, that you're going to walk out with boldness. How many of us are afraid to step out? Not only afraid to step out, but afraid to speak out, afraid to stand up for yourself, afraid to do something new, afraid to, try something new, possibilities, the impossible, making it possible. And you know what? You don't have to do it by yourself. Sometimes in reintroducing yourself, it not only takes you, but it does take a team. It does take, first of all, leaning on the Lord, and allowing Him to move you into that. And so I'm so happy that I saw another year. I'm so happy that this month, my birthday month, so I'm already halfway through the month of May, that I have been so blessed. I have been so favored. To my friends who are watching right now, for sharing life with me, for blessing me, not only my friends but my family. It has made me feel so, so, so good. I can honestly say that in this reintroduction of myself, it's a way for me to become re-inspired. I did have a bit of a rocky couple of months. I had a little bit of warfare. I'm going to call it a little bit because the Bible says that He won't give you too much that you can't bear. If I'm walking around saying that I'm the number one grace girl, then let me tell you, His grace is sufficient, and He's going to make sure that nothing will touch me. And so in that, I had to get re-encouraged. And through that process, through that time of being quiet and being still and hearing from Him, it also opened up the door for me to be around more positive people, more positivity, to hear positive messages, to to be inspired, to hear motivational messages. And all that did was, it spoke to my spirit, and it said, you know what, you're a new you. The things that bother you now is because you're changing. Sometimes, the things that start to bug you, the things that start to, kind of, pinch at your spirit, it's because you're changing. It's because you're not willing to tolerate those old things. And so, hey, you know what? Reintroduce yourself. Start over, start new. Walk into a room and let people see you, the ones who don't know you and maybe the ones who know you. And I promise you, if you decide to walk with intention and purpose in reintroducing yourself, you are going to inspire yourself. So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about some things to think about when you are in a place of re-identifying yourself, of reintroducing yourself. So one of the things I want to talk about is restoration of identity. So spiritually, reintroducing yourself often involves God reestablishing someone in their original purpose or calling, often with greater clarity, authority, or grace. I love God's grace. That's why I call myself the number one grace girl. When God gave me, that word so many years ago, well over 20 years ago, when I decided to walk in ministry, I heard a message on the radio, and it was a pastor saying, grace, God's redemption at Christ's expense. He did everything for me. He did everything. And so if I'm to walk in my God-given identity and I'm to walk in His purpose, then guess what? I'm walking with Jesus, who died for me on the cross. And you know what? I'm to look like Him, and to be like Him in the earth. And so, if it takes me reintroducing myself in a different way, right? Because nowadays, ministry is different. We have to touch people in different ways. We have to minister to people in different ways. It's just like having, a group of people that you're with, and you're communicating with each person differently based off of their personality types. And so with me, that's how I look at it. I look at it as that, if I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm walking in my purpose, I have to touch people in a different way because they're all different. So me reintroducing myself is doing that. It's showing me that you can do that. You don't have to, speak to everyone the same. You don't have to have relationships that are exactly the same. You have to be flexible, and you have to be fluid in that in order to meet people where they are. And so, I have to be open to reintroducing myself and to walking in that. Um, the next thing I want to talk about in me reintroducing myself is renewal of relationship with God. Can I tell you that when you get a relationship with the Lord, it doesn't mean that relationship is not going to change through the seasons of your life. In the beginning, I probably didn't know how to pray. I probably didn't know how to go to God. I probably didn't know how to hold on to Him. I probably had to do it through my community and through my friends. And I still hold on to that. I still have people that reach out to me and inspire me and encourage me, when they think about me. And I appreciate that so much. But, My relationship with the Lord changes every single day on how I communicate with Him. It may be through tears one day, it may be through laughter, it may be through a conversation, it may be through a Bible scripture, it may be through a message. And so, I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay to meet God where He is, and He's meeting me where I am. And so I appreciate how He's given me another day to live, another day to re-inspire, and another day to reintroduce myself. We can show up different from day to day. We don't have to show up the same every day. We don't have to do the same monotonous things every single day. We can change it up. We can sing one day, we can laugh one day, we can cry one day. So just think about that. I love that. I love that about the Lord, how, He meets us where He is. The renewal of relationship with God, it can symbolize a fresh encounter with God where He reintroduces Himself in a deeper or more personal way, such as when God said to Moses, I am that I am, revealing a new facet of His character. So with me reintroduced, I love that right there. That is so, so, so powerful. When I was doing this study today, and just thinking about this over the past few days, I thought about that. I thought about, a big part of me reintroducing myself is going through a renewal process. And I love how, even in the Bible, you see how God shows up to so many different people in so many different ways. He meets them where they are. He conversates with them where they are. And I want to be a reflection of Him in the earth. I want to be a reflection of Him. And I love that how God reveals His character. So in me reintroducing myself, my character may be different today than it was yesterday. And so I love that. I love to meet people where I am. And my character, for my friends and people who know me, it means everything to me, right? So it's how I show up, it's how I respond. I think before I just let things out. I walk away from things that are no good for me, because I know that I want that response to be positive. I want that person, or the people, or whatever the circumstances is, to remember me in that moment. So whether it's a good or a bad thing that you're in or you're walking away from, your character needs to go before you. My character is everything. I have been able to touch so many people based off of my character. I've been able to mend relationships based off of my character. What is that person remembering me by? What is that last conversation that we had? So our character needs to go before us. So, emergence after refinement. So, a reintroduction happens after a period of hiddenness, pruning, or preparation. Spiritually, it's God saying, now is the time to reveal what I've been developing in you. So, this reintroduction is a big part of my refinement. Refinement can hurt. I was going through a season of hurt, but even in that hurt, I just want to thank so many of the ladies who reached out to me, and unbeknownst to what I was going through, because I can be private, I can be quiet, I can kind of hide myself a bit, and there's nothing wrong with that, because in that hiddenness is where you find that time with the Lord, and in that hiddenness is when He's doing some things, He's talking to you, He's taking some things away, He's adding some things, and in that time, that's exactly what He was doing. So, the Bible says that man maketh plans, but God directs his path. And so, the beginning of this year, I was doing whatever I wanted to do, right? And so, God said, ho, 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 hold on a minute. I'm not in that. And you want to know what? I had to listen. And when we don't listen and we don't stop what He doesn't want us to be a part of, or to be in, or to start, or to finish, whatever that is, when He comes in and He says, it's me or nothing, it's Him or nothing. So I do know that that's exactly what happened to me this year. And so I decided to make some pivots and stopping. And in that, I had to get a little bit of a little chastisement in that. And it's okay, because in that, it was that time of separation, that time of hiddenness, that time of being quiet, that time of listening, that time of, my friends coming forward and saying, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. Nothing wrong, but I'm just, you're in my thoughts. And I mean, that was happening. I mean, it just blessed me, because it just showed me how much God has me on His mind and in His thoughts. And when we're walking in His purpose, and when we kind of veer off, He wants us back. These are the things that He does to get our attention. And so in that, I definitely had some lessons learned. And He's like, you know what? Since, you sat with me, you got quiet, you hid yourself, I hid you. There's going to be a reemergence and a reintroduction of yourself. And so I so appreciate that word from the Lord. And the last thing that I want to do is I want to talk about public affirmation of divine favor. Can I tell you something? I am so thankful to be a candidate of favor and that the Lord is speaking to me. Oh, wow. Hey, Winger. I love that. Yes, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. I appreciate you all jumping on. I do want to say that public affirmation of divine favor. Now, one thing I heard last year that just sticks with me, Dr. Cynthia Brazelton said, favor is your currency, right? And there's so many things and so many ways that I have been blessed this year alone based off of God's favor. Things, when people hear God's favor, what does God's favor mean to you? One, it means grace, right? So we know that it's unmerited, that it's undeserved, it's undeserved blessings, mercy, grace, and all of those things. And so I know that I don't deserve his blessings at times. I know that I don't deserve his love at times, but yet and still he still gives, he still does, and he still shows up for me. And so, in that, he's going to publicly affirm you. When you decide to walk in his way, walk in his purpose, walk in his divine favor, I'm telling you something, he is going to show up and you are going to be overwhelmed by his blessings. Have any of you been overwhelmed by his blessing and favor? I know that I can say unequivocally that I have so many times in my life. He has shown up when I didn't even know he was going to step in. And I'm telling you something, it has been nothing but blessings. Um, Sometimes reintroduction is about God positioning someone before people again, but this time with his power and approval. Much like Jesus said after his baptism, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." So, God does that. He wants to reaffirm you. He wants you to he wants to reintroduce you into your walk and into your purpose in a greater way, even more greater than what you thought it was going to be. So whatever he's telling you today, tonight, whatever he wants you to, he wants you to finish. And I'm going to tell you something. So many of us start things that we don't finish. I was listening to a motivational message this morning, getting ready for work. I try to do that every day to get inspired. And I was listening to an amazing teacher, and she was talking about just getting re-inspired, getting, refilled, getting, refueled. And a lot of that has to do with just, listening, writing, being around the right company, affirming yourself, pushing yourself, reading scripture. A lot of that has to do with that. And so, in that, there's that re again, there's that power of RE. So I will tell you that, it's okay to reintroduce yourself. It's okay to restart. It's okay to start over. It's okay to get refilled because so many of us need that. So how are you going to get refilled? Is it going to be sitting down and writing? Is it going to be setting aside time for prayer? Is it going to be getting in a circle of people who, you have something in common with, who can speak to your spirit and you can speak to them? What is it going to take for you to get reintroduced? What is it going to take for you to walk in your purpose and in your God-given divine, care of people? What does that look like for you? How are you going to start? I would just say start. I love that term. I've heard it so many times over and over again, start scared, because so many things that we do, we started scared, because fear kind of tries to get in the way of things, because that's how the enemy works. But start scared, push yourself, start that business, start that, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to sell things, if you want to build something, start it, do it, be inspired, to do it. So, thank you all for listening tonight. I'm so excited that you came on. Listen, this month we have about 2 more weeks, two and a half more weeks in this month. And I have some amazing guests to come on to talk to you about the power of re. It won't be just coming from my mouth, from my heart. It's going to be coming from so many other ladies that are coming on with me for the rest of this month. We have a lot of the power of REs coming up to share with you from their thoughts, their hearts, their gifts, their purpose. And I mean, it's speaking to me right now. And so those that are coming on to share with you, I can't wait because I know that I'm going to learn something new. So I'm just starting us off with this, but man, oh man, are we going to have an amazing rest of the month and finishing this up. And we want to hear from you. We want to, if you're watching today and this has blessed you, listen, share it with a friend, join us again. We will be jumping on to a couple more lives this week. I'll be jumping on with a few more ladies for the remainder of the month, and they're going to share what God is doing in their life when it comes to the starting over, the new, the becoming, the awakening, the emergence, all of those good things. It's going to be so amazing. So I cannot wait to see everybody again. I can't wait to talk to you about God's grace, His mercy, His love, and His favor. And listen, until next time, share this video. We'll be jumping on here again and talking to you and sharing with you. But we definitely want to hear from you. If you have not, follow me on TikTok. I appreciate you all for doing that. Some of you all know me through my podcast, Art of Grace podcast. You can find that on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. Listen, look up Art of Grace podcast. That's an amazing podcast for women in ministry in the marketplace. And so we're doing something a little new by jumping on TikTok and posting some new videos and putting them on the different platforms and just talking about something new and something different and something that's fresh for this year. I know that there's this reemergence, this reintroduction of myself. This is a big part of it, is saying, hey, let's jump onto TikTok and let's touch some lives. Let's touch some people, because that's what it's all about. It's all about sharing your heart, sharing what's inspiring you so you can inspire others. Don't keep anything to yourself. Listen, I can sit here all day and sit in the presence of the Lord and just have my time with Him and just think on those things. But why keep it to yourself? If it inspires you, use that to inspire others, okay? You don't have to sit and, think about things on your own and, what can I talk to people? What can I talk to my friends about? What can this conversation look like? Sometimes these good conversations come from just watching one of these videos, right? I love watching, and, to the other people who are on here sharing great content on YouTube and all the other platforms, listen, who inspire me, I share their messages with my friends and with my families when it inspires me. I'm not going to keep it to myself. And so I want you to do the same thing. If this has blessed you tonight, if you are in a season of reintroducing yourself, shoot me a message. I would love to hear from you. I would love to pray for you in that process, because I know that some people are afraid to reintroduce themselves. Some people are in a hidden place right now. Some people are, hiding. Some people are, you're in a hidden place, but yet you're hiding, right? And it's time for you to come out. So what are you afraid of? What's keeping you back? Because is it, okay, let's start with laziness, right? Let's start with laziness. Let's start with scrolling. Let's start with just letting things, distractions, huge. I talked about that to some friends the other day at lunch. And distractions are a huge thing, especially for us ladies, right? Because for some of us, and I'm not saying not for the guys, but for a lot of us, we work, we have children, we have spouses, we have things going on in life. And, so we let those things stop us. But, when you have a purpose, he'll figure out a way to make time. He will show you how to do it. God will show you how to do it. And so for me, I know that, I work hard. I have family, I have life going on, but those things can't get into the way of your purpose, because guess what? Your purpose is going to help someone else. Your purpose is not only going to help you, it's going to help those around you. Okay. And, messages like this can live on. I listen to so many messages on YouTube from pastors who are not even around anymore. Dr. Miles Monroe, Pastor Jerry Savelle. I've been being blessed by so many different messages of pastors who are not even here any longer, and yet it's blessing me and inspiring me. So, get your content out, share with others, share from your heart, because, your words, it lives on even beyond you. Okay. So listen, I'm just inspiring you tonight to reintroduce yourself. And for those who jumped on, again, this is Farrah, your number one grace girl, reintroducing myself. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And thank you so much. I ask that you share this video, and again, follow this page, and listen, look out for those next couple of videos that's coming out. This is the month of Re, R-E, the power of Re. So what is your Re going to be? Is it going to be getting revealed, re-inspired, rejuvenated, reintroducing? So do that. Hit me up. I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening tonight. So listen, we want to hear from you. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I see so many people that jumped on. I know I got on here a little bit late because I, had a busy work day, but I knew that there would be people on tonight, being inspired by this message. And not only did it inspire you, but it inspired me. So until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Did you enjoy today's message on Introducing Me, the season of Re? Listen, the Successful Women's Devotional is now available. Reach out to me on all of my platforms, and I'll tell you how you can get a copy.